everyone, my name is Sabiha Ahmed, and I'm going to be talking about political ambition in the United States and the gender gap between men and women. I'm going to discuss the causes of this gender gap, the implications of it when it comes to U.S. policy, as well as my solutions. And just to give some context to the issue, we originally always thought that the reason there is an underrepresentation of females in politics is because of discrimination, and yet recently we discovered through looking at election data, this was research done by Jennifer Lawless and Richard Fox, who are political scientists, very focused in the issue of gender politics. They discovered that women are just as likely to win an election as their male counterpart, and so there is actually no statistical evidence of a discrimination against women when it comes to running for office. And so because of that, they started looking at the issue of ambition, and they noticed that women tend to just be less politically ambitious than men. They don't choose to run for office as much as men. And they tested this by surveying a group of men and women who are falling into a candidate eligibility pool in which they have careers and histories and relationships that make them the type of person that would run for office. And they discovered that 59% of men said they would have considered running for office, while only 43% of women said they have. And so that's a 17% gender gap that needs to be explained. And so they tried to explain this with structural forces, psychological forces, and social cultural forces that are barriers for women. And I particularly believe that it is the social and cultural forces in place in society that are the biggest barriers to women and are responsible for this gender gap in political ambition. And I feel this way because these forces are present from childhood through adulthood, and they do not nurture women to be interested in politics and to ever consider a career in politics. And they also condition both men and women to see the role of a woman in society and in the professional world in a very specific way, which again limits the options, and these options include politics. And so starting again from childhood, what researchers have noticed, and what I've noticed in my own research, is that there's a lack of political socialization in women. And again, Jennifer Lawless and Richard Fox discovered in their surveys that they did is that women are 15% less likely than men to have their parents encourage them to run for office, and they're 20% less likely to have fathers speak with them about politics. And then looking at data from the American Education Evaluation System, we've noticed that there's a disparity in men and women when it comes to performance in civics, not physics. And so women in the group of 15 to 25 years of age are significantly less knowledgeable about politics than boys in that age group. And this is important because childhood exposure to politics doubles an individual's interest in running for office. And so women who are not politically socialized have a 0.36 probability of considering a candidacy, which is very low. And so then, say these women grow up and they do actually finally catch up to their male counterparts and they are interested in politics, you have another social cultural force, which is the traditional family structure. And this is to me, one of the biggest issues when it comes to why women are just less ambitious, especially in politics. And it's because despite the fact that we have more and more two-income households, in these two-income households, data has shown that women are still responsible for taking care of the house, and they're still responsible for cleaning and taking care of the children. And because their role in a family is very physical, it's very much it requires a much more physical, constant presence as opposed to men. And so women have to make a choice between their family and their profession. And versus men are more taught that they can have both because their role does not require as much of a physical presence. And so women are caught in this double bind in which they have to succeed in both aspects, and when they can't, they're blamed and taught that they should be putting their family first. And women who are successful professionally don't have families. I mean, they do, but generally they're much less likely to have families and to have children and to be married, basically saying that, you know, if you have these family duties, these are what you should be focusing on as opposed to your career. And it's, again, even more highlighted by the media when women leave high-profile careers for their families. Everyone, congratulates them and salutes them. And this, again, perpetuates the idea that a woman's just birth-given role in society is to take care of the family. And both men and women in the U.S. feel this way. And it, again, some people are, more interested in taking care of the family, but we have to acknowledge that a lot of this is socially conditioned by how we are used to having our families structured. And so for me, this is a big deal, and for everyone, because this is an issue of fairness and democracy when it comes to U.S. politics, because you're not fairly accounting for 50% of the population when you're debating and discussing policies. And we've seen that female legislators tend to focus on different issues than male legislators do, and these issues include violence prevention, incarceration, and the environment. Despite party affiliation, female legislators often introduce bills in areas of civil rights, education, health, and labor. And so not having women present in our, as much women present in our political system is reducing the diversity that we need when it comes to discussing these policies, and we're not accounting for the experiences of women when we're formulating policies that do affect women. And so this is something that we do need to focus on fixing and changing, because otherwise we're going to be very stagnant in our policy development because we're not getting the perspectives and the experiences of an entire gender as effectively. And so to me, how we can narrow this gap is to address the social and cultural forces and come up with ways to combat them so that we can initiate a cultural change. And so when it comes to the issue of political socialization and women lacking that from a young age, I suggest that we incorporate more civics courses into the education system, especially primary and middle school. And again, both boys and girls will benefit from this. And we currently have a serious lack of civics education in our system, and so both boys and girls will benefit from this, and it'll hopefully create a domino effect in which girls are exposed to this in their they're exposed to this in their education, and then they can bring this to their peers and their families, which are all the things that encompass, these are all the agents of political socialization, and that'll account for the disparity by making it more mandatory in the school system, because that's something that we can control much more directly as opposed to controlling what kind of discussions are going on in a family. And then also in the issue of the traditional family structure, I'm kind of pulling from what I learned from Ann Slaughter in her suggestions about this issue. Is we know that women have these different responsibilities from men, so we need to adapt our workplace so that it is overall more female friendly and family friendly. And again, both men and women benefit from this, but because women are in a different place than men, as we've seen from our research, women are going to be able to again catch up to the men. And having a family friendly workplace that emphasizes the importance of a family, it respects, leaving work to take care of a family emergency, and having pregnancy and family leaves is going to help women, as well as utilizing technology so that the workplace is not, you're not required to be in the workplace at all hours of the day, as well as having more flexible work hours will help women not have to make, as much of a choice between family and profession. It'll allow the two to integrate more effectively together. And having this in place will, again, help hopefully account for the fact that women are always forced to choose between the two, and often they're told that they should choose their families. And so this has been my presentation on the issue of political ambition, and I thank you for watching.